There are millions of videos out there telling you exactly what gear you need to buy if you want your content to look professional. But I am here to tell you that this is not going to be one of those videos about expensive lenses or fancy lights. I want to show you how to make your videos feel more professional and far more watchable, whether you are editing on a cheap laptop or working in a professional studio. The secret isn't a lens or a light, it is actually the power of contrast. I am not just talking about the contrast slider in your editing software, but cinematic contrast translated into your pacing, your audio, and your distribution. Once you start seeing these kinds of contrasts in your edits, you won't be able to unsee them and your content will perform a whole lot better. Now, quick heads up, I am going to share a tool that makes using this idea stupidly easy, and that tool is Vizard. I am not here to spam you, but think of Vizard like your editing sidekick that actually understands these contrast tricks and turns raw footage into viral clips. First up, let's talk about contrast and pacing. Think of your long video like a conversation at a party where if someone talks at the same energy for an hour, you eventually zone out. But when they vary their tempo, shifting from soft to loud or fast to slow, you sit up and pay attention. That is the kind of edit you want, so start your clip with a hook, like a sharp, fast cut, a punchy line, or a tiny suspenseful pause. Then cut to something slower or quieter to make the next moment hit much harder. That micro roller coaster of speed keeps attention, and the same applies on a macro level across your entire channel. Alternate your high-energy clips with calmer, reflective ones so your channel feels dynamic and fresh. How do creators normally do this? They scrub through hours of footage, mark moments, and manually stitch together highlights. That takes time, it is boring, and it leads to a lot of misses. Tools like Premiere Pro are great if you love being hunched over a timeline for 8 hours, but they don't find the emotional peaks for you. This is where Vizard shines because it analyzes your long footage to find moments of heightened engagement automatically. It spots big laughs, loud reactions, and audio spikes to create clips that naturally respect that pacing contrast. You still steer the story, but Vizard surfaces the material so you can focus on arranging the contrast instead of hunting for it. Second, we have to talk about contrast in audio. Audio has a weird superpower. Silence makes noise sound way bigger. Movies cut the sound before a huge moment so the impact lands perfectly. In social video, you can do the same, dropping the ambient sound just before a reveal or a punchline, or cut to a single intimate mic for a second when someone says something vulnerable, because that sonic texture tells the brain to pay attention. Use hard cuts from music to silence, or from dialogue to Foley, because these moments pop on phone speakers. Making that work at scale is messy if you do it by hand, and most creators rely entirely on intuition. Vizard detects audio dynamics and suggests clips where contrast in sound will maximize your impact. It can mute, duck, or normalize audio for each clip, and even suggest a music bed that sets the right emotional tone. That saves you time and increases the odds your clip will actually stop those scrollers in their tracks. Third, we look at contrast in visuals, specifically color and framing. You know how some videos feel flat and others feel cinematic? A lot of that comes down to visual temperature. Opposing colors, like warm versus cool tones, create instant tension in the frame. Also, mixing wide shots with tight close-ups creates the kind of visual contrast that really pulls the eye. You can replicate this by selecting clips strategically, like picking a cold exterior shot and cutting to a warm interior reaction. Vizard identifies visually striking frames in your footage, like faces or pops of color, and creates crop variants for different platforms. It preserves the color contrast and auto-adjusts the crop so the headroom and visual relationships remain intact. Fourth, let's talk about contrast in motion and speed. Mix slow motion with real-time action to make movement read. A slow-mo shot after a sequence of rapid cuts gives your audience a moment to breathe and highlights detail. Conversely, throwing sudden, normal speed clips into a slow montage snaps people back into the present. The limitation with many mobile editors is they often wreck the audio when you try to change speeds. Vizard lets you combine frame rate variants and suggests exactly where a slow-mo insert will maximize contrast. Fifth is contrast in distribution, which is basically consistency versus surprise. Posting the same type of clip every single day bores your audience, but posting wildly inconsistent content confuses the algorithm. The trick is to build a rhythm of consistency, and then occasionally drop something different to surprise and re-engage viewers. So you might post 3 short informational clips a week and then drop a single high-production emotional clip. That surprise gets more reach because it breaks the pattern. Vizard's auto schedule and content calendar lets you set your posting frequency and then fills the gaps with intelligently selected clips. This frees you to create and strategize rather than act like a middleman for your own uploads. I love CapCut for micro edits and Premiere when I'm doing a full color grade, but they each have their limits. Vizard brings the discovery, the formatting, and the distribution together in one place. It finds contrast moments, formats them for vertical platforms, and posts them on a schedule. Let me give you an example from my own workflow with a 2-hour live stream that was originally a total mess. I let the AI find high-energy pockets, then created a lineup, a rapid-fire highlight, a reason take, and an emotional story. The result was more click-throughs, better retention, and comments that said it felt like a proper mini-episode. Doing it by hand would have taken a full day, but with Vizard, it was just an hour of creative direction. The bottom line is that contrast is your ultimate creative lever. You don't need a fancy kit to use these ideas, you just need an intentional editing approach and tools that help you execute quickly. If you want something that actually helps you apply these contrast principles across hours of footage, definitely check out Vizard. It's not a magic wand that replaces your taste, but it surfaces the moments worth crafting and formats them for where people actually watch. Try it out on a long video and see how many little contrast moments it finds. Then decide which ones you want to push into the spotlight. If you keep applying these 5 contrast moves every time you turn a long video into shorts, your content will feel more cinematic and more clickable. Thanks for watching, and if you make anything with these ideas, drop a link somewhere I can find it because I love seeing your creativity. See you in the next video.